Now, if you're excited about getting your 4-post lift, you're probably searching all types of examples of what people did to enhance them or how to make your choice. Now, as you can see in the background, I got a pair of 4-post lifts, and I'm still working on refining a bit what I'm doing, but for this one right here, I've got 4 tips that I'd like to share with you of things I think really enhance the experience of owning a 4-post lift. At the end, I might even share 2 additional bonus features. So the first tip I'd recommend for anybody considering a home style 4-post lift is a 220 volt power supply. The majority of the time, they'll have a larger pump as well, so the raise speed will be a little bit faster than your typical 120 hobbyist type lift. There are some other more heavy duty, but still residential. I think Bedpack offers one that's also 240 volts. But I think it's important, 240 volts, better motor health, half the amperage, and there's several other reasons I'd consider it. Let me go over some of those reasons, compare and contrast between common 120 volt hobbyist one and the upgraded 240 volt configuration. So as you can see, I've got a 240 volt plug here. I believe it's a NEMA 14-30R, so it's 30 amp rated. As you can see, I've got 2 hots, a neutral, and a ground. The important part about that is that you can use the neutral side if you want to split some of the voltage on the lift, as you'll see what I do later on. But for the purpose of this discussion, I recommend bringing the 10-3 wire over to this, rated for 30 amp. The 2 hots, neutral, and ground will give you some options, as opposed to something that I did a little bit lower here for welding and so forth. This is just a 50 amp outlet. I believe it's a 650R, so it just got 2 hots and a ground. Completely adequate for what we've got going, using as a welder or something else. But as far as the lift goes, I really thought the neutral was worth doing. Relatively easy. I can just grab this plug here, knock it into 30 amp outlet. We're in good shape. If I were to have to unplug that quickly, it might not be as easy to do. So for that reason, I came over here and I made this, kill switch that I can immediately hit it and it'll cut all power going to the lift immediately. Should the button here get stuck or something along the lines of that, where I'd have to kill power immediately, not raise something into, cause a catastrophe. So should there be a reason why the lift is going up, I release it and it continues to go, I can quickly hit that stop button and cut all power to the lift. So what I ended up doing is just running this plug up over here high, comes down and into the top of this homemade junction box, and then coming out of the homemade junction box, I have one line here going into the power unit itself, and then I have a second line here that comes down and is protected by this drag chain. To turn power on to the lift, I can do that right there. I have a convenience outlet right here, and coming out of this, I have this 110 volt circuit that I can control here, turning things off, turning them back on. And that, as we talked about, comes down by way of the drag chain and into the underside of the lift. So I'm going to try and see what the lift time is to 6 feet of height. So we'll hit this here and start. almost here. There we go. Almost exactly 1 minute. So by the time I fumbled and hit it, it was almost exactly a minute. I think I hit the start a second or so early, hit the button engage, and then stopped it and came down and grabbed the phone again to stop it. So right around a minute, maybe just a touch under, if I'm being honest with you guys. So we've raised the lift up. We can talk a little bit about the power supply here. As I mentioned before, I really think the 240 volt configuration, 240, 220, is a better way to go. I've installed some lifts in a previous life, and some lifts are dual voltage motors. Some lifts you can get the 240 volt configuration, which usually will get you a larger pump. So the rise time will be faster with a 240 volt pump, or it certainly has the potential to be faster. The other thing I like about it is with the lowered amp draw that the 240 volt motor gets you, I think it's better overall motor health and performance. I've seen a couple YouTube videos when I was researching it on a similar lift to this one here, the black and gray one, and the thing that really made me choose to avoid that one was a video where a fella talked about tripping breakers. And I get it, maybe he didn't have it sized properly, but then he discovered that if he added an extension cord for some additional capacity, adding, in the line or filling up the cord of electricity, that initial surge went away and he wouldn't pop the breaker. I realized at that point it really wasn't a matter of wire size, more of just the inrush current. And why go 120 volts if you could have 240 volt available? There will be plenty of people that maybe are putting a lift in the garage and only have 120 volts available. And hey, we're all lucky just to have a lift. So I'm not trying to say that's a terrible thing. But given the option, you have the opportunity to have a 240 volt configuration, I highly recommend it. And we're talking about what I'm going to do here on the underneath side now. We went over the voltage. We talked a little about the safety with the kill switch. And now we're going to get into some of the additional lighting that I've done here. So let me grab the camera and walk around the underneath side here so you can see some of those improvements. So again, leaving this junction box I created with the emergency stop switch going into the control switch there for the underneath side, we leave going down the drag chain and back up the drag chain to my lift penetration, over up into here and into this first junction with this switch here I have for control. So there we go. I've got LED lighting on the underneath side of the lift. On this side here, I've come out of this junction over into this conduit to protect it. You can see that conduit runs there, comes across parallel to my cable, and over into this larger junction here where I have another control for the LEDs, control switch there, running down the length here, and then also some additional convenience outlets here and here. And then what I've done is I've also added more LEDs I can control with this that end up on the top side there. And I'll show you a video that I did my oil change earlier in my truck this morning, and I tell you, the lighting is excellent for seeing up underneath a vehicle. So wrapping up here, we talked about the 240 volt configuration, the safety switch, the 120 volt convenience lighting, and then the fourth component, I guess we could say, is the LED system because the LEDs provide, you know, a massive amount of uplight, downlight, make this whole configuration extremely useful. As a bonus, I'd like to share, you know, some of the things I found where I like to move around. I've got this power strip that comes down and sneaks in over here and back over to the outlet. Right here's a bonus feature. These strong magnets here, that's all I'd use to hold some things in place. Same with the back side here. I've just got real strong magnets holding this in place. I can quickly and conveniently move some outlets around. I've also used these magnetic hooks here just to support this section here where there's a junction on the LED lighting. Down there, I've got another magnet, and even on the wire management here for this, I've added some additional magnets. So I really think that the magnets on these lifts can add a very convenient feature. Here's another magnet tray holder that I might throw a remote control in or a cell phone or something like that while working on the lift. So as far as some bonus stuff, can't go wrong with getting creative with the magnets. And then probably my favorite feature, it's kind of been in the background here, but I've added this banner to the one side of the wall that I really can't use for much. I think it's a great feature item. Take pictures of certain favorite cars on the lift here, and it just looks awesome. So guys, tell me what you think. I like some of the mods I did here. I love the comments even more. Maybe we can compare. How long does it take to go 72 inches on the lift you have? Leave a comment down below. What do you like for lighting? I think the lighting's pretty phenomenal on this here. I even added some additional lighting just over on the two rails of the garage here. I think you can never have enough lighting. But if there's a better way to do it, or you've seen it done better, leave a comment down below as well. As far as voltage goes, that's a bit of a debate, but I'm interested to see what your input is. What else could I have added to here? I've thought about things like battery tenders and that type of thing, but I feel like there's stuff still left to be done. Let's put our heads together and see what we can come up with. The comments are going to be great. Here's what I was talking about with more LED lighting. Sometimes the garage door going up can eclipse some of your lighting. So I seen this shared on the internet here, running these LED strips on the lighting rail. I put one on that side and one over here on this side, and I really do think it helps. As you can see, we got lighting along the west rail here of the lift, and it does a tremendous job of lighting up the undercarriage here, making it much more work friendly. So it was almost too much lighting with these popular LED, garage strip lights I added to the side here. So just on the west side, it works great. I think if I did it on both sides, it'd probably almost be too bright and blinding. So I'm happy with the lighting I get on just one side. It probably is a little dark, but you can see what the underneath side of the lift here was just ambient lighting from around. Here's some low voltage lighting I got from Advantage Lifts. They make a small magnetic LED strip system, and it's relatively easy to apply, safe, and it offers some lighting, but it doesn't have the visual impact that, the big lights have. Please consider subscribing. I'm a small channel, and I try to put out some helpful content. Thanks so much.